The 2021 New Year's resolution Pylon show. The host and the guests agree. Just cheese, dude.
Just cheese. Just cheese.
Right you're looking for. You just want that purple border. No problem. We got you.
There's a difference between having a goal to improve and having a goal to win.
Even with a negative year, like I think it's important to look forward with optimism. And I know one thing that helps me get out of funks and stuff is to have some sort of goals, some sort of things that I'm working towards. And I think that that's something that if you look at those with optimism, which is kind of what this show is about, and trying to help people that might have goals that are related to things that we know about, like streaming or casting or playing StarCraft or whatever. Yeah, that's I think that can be a good thing for you. I know for me personally, that's you know a good thing to kind of reset and have that optimism going forward. I've been known to play a bit of StarCraft 2 Protoss in my day. Look, if you can't beat the army, don't engage it. I think this sounds so obvious, but the amount of people that don't follow this simple principle of StarCraft, if you're not going to win the fight, don't fight it. Okay? Walk your army around, stop reinforcements, continue to build. You can take some damage on your Nexus. You can lose a few probes in your front gateway or whatever the hell it is. But really, just keep making your units and don't fight under liberators, for God's sake. Like that. That is every time someone goes and fights under liberators and loses, I'm just like, I mean, it's pretty obvious these things do like 70 damage a hit. Yeah, I don't know anything from you guys on his,
Do you have a moment to speak about our Lord and Savior warping zealots in the main? It's a very strong move. Ship it at 80%. Don't get too hung up on every YouTube video. It doesn't need to be perfect.
Yeah. I think that's a good point. And like and the same thing with the sleep schedule, with the workout routine, start with easy goals, ease yourself into it, work your way into it, let everything kind of flow, and don't put yourself in a position where you're trying, where you've got your test that you're studying for, or you've got something you're working on, and you want to get your Brood War ladder games in, and you're like, oh, I don't have time to exercise. That's when you if you want to get that process going, if you keep things simple and don't give yourself too much to do, because even these goals are all awesome, great, ambitious, but trying to jump into all of them at the same time can be really overwhelming. So key in on the ones that are going to be the most important for you, schedule your study time, but maybe there's some great connections between physical health and mental health as well. You could try to plan it out to be like, all right, well, when I sit down to study, I'm going to do 5 push-ups before I do my studying, right? Something really easy, something that you couldn't possibly give yourself like an easy excuse to not do, and then try to let that build. And if you can, schedule it with this number of things that you want to do, obviously scheduling most of the time to the more important things.
I can jump in on the B rank in Brood War as Protoss. There's 2 ways. There's the cheater way and the legit way. The cheater way would be just make 2 gateways in the middle of the map and send zealots. And that will literally get you B no matter what, not because you're good, but because it's so hard to stop. I got almost to A rank with that, and my win rate against Protoss was 0%. So I lost every PvP with that, but still, it's like very high B I got with it. It's like if you just send zealots, most people are gonna die if you make them early. But that's the cheater way. You don't want to do it that way. Work on creating probes. Get your probe production down. Okay, make sure that you can make 45 probes as soon as 45 probes can be made, and you will get to B rank just through macro. Protoss is a very macro intensive race, and that is the most important skill to have as a Protoss player. Don't worry about all your different micro techniques. Protoss units are strong, and it's a race where you just need to make sure you've spent your money. So if you work on that specifically, you'll be able to get to B rank.
The 2021 New Year's resolution Pylon show. The host and the guests agree. Just cheese, dude.
Just cheese. Just cheese.
Right you're looking for. You just want that purple border. No problem. We got you.
There's a difference between having a goal to improve and having a goal to win.
Yes. Is this a long-term thing? Is it a short-term thing? Good luck, Schemo. You can do it. We have Body V, which is a Pylon Show artist in here saying, get swole, go hiking unironically, get more swole, try more restaurants around the city, swole. So I take it she wants to get ripped, right? That's what swole is, right? Swole is the new word for rip.
Yeah.
Okay, which is the new word for shredded, which is the new word for make my muscles bigger. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm not swole at all. So, and I don't go hiking.
You just gotta go. You just gotta go for it, man. That's all you can do. You just gotta go for it. You know, I mean, I was saying earlier, I put on some weight. I've got a belly, but you can still take time to lift. You can still keep the arms together, right? Somewhat. But it's about getting into the habit for it, right? Getting into the habit. If you want to go hiking and you're going to be doing a lot of cardio like that, find somewhere that you can go for walks where there's hills. Maybe you can build up from something like that, a little bit extra resistance. Something that's great for your legs as well. You can do calf raises. One of my favorite exercises. You can do calf raises almost anywhere. You're on any sort of curb or step. You just have only the front halves of your feet on top of those curbs, and you can just lift yourself up a little bit. You could do it on almost anything. These are the types of things, you're getting, especially if you're trying to get them legs swell. That's my boy. That's my boy right there.
Yeah.
Wow. You live somewhere you can get big weights still. That's impressive. I'm very jealous of Neuro.
Look at that bicep.
He is absolutely ripped. He is shredded.
Just do as Neuro does.
He's got the strongest mental game out of anybody.
We are going to pump you up.
All right, we have one here from Gigaga SC2. Says, I'm on the road to self-improvement with StarCraft as a catalyst. My goal this year is to improve my presence of mind. Even after 1,000 games in a season, I still freeze up in the middle of games because of anxiety. It seems like players that are mechanically slower than me or with less game knowledge are overall better than me because of this. It's hard to have both presence of mind and remain as active and fast as StarCraft requires. Any advice?
Yo, that's some real stuff right there. And I know exactly what this guy is talking about. That's something that I have a lot of experience with. I think when you're playing a game that pushes you like that, especially with the 1v1 environment, all the pressure is on you. If you're somebody who has anxiety, and I don't know if you have it the same way that I experience it, but for me, it's every time that I do something wrong or I feel like I'm making a mistake, it starts to spiral in my mind about all of the negative consequences of that, where I'm like, oh, I screwed this up, so now he's just going to kill me because this 5-second supply block is going to mean I won't have enough units to hold this push and all of that stuff. And there really isn't a magical fix or cure for that. That's the nature of taking it to somebody 1 versus 1. That's that pressure. I mean, that rush is partially why we play StarCraft as well, because it is a difficult thing to just work through, right? And I think that it's something that you need to just be aware of, and the more aware of it that you are, I think the easier it'll be to avoid projecting it onto something else. Like it's easy to think that, oh, this guy's slower than me, or maybe his build was worse, but I just kind of, I'm stressed out, I'm not all there, I'm having a hard time with this match. And honestly, saying that you're playing 1,000 games in a season, I think that can be a part of it too, because you need to give your mind a break sometimes from that stuff, because when that feeling continuously hits you, when you let that feeling continuously hit you, even if you are aware of it, at some point we all have our limits with what's going to overwhelm us and set us back. And I think it also comes into a bit of over practicing right at that point too, where it'll be, if you maybe have it in lower amounts, but keep it more focused on what you're trying to do, you can avoid kind of scaling that in your head. At least I feel like whenever I would go for really long sessions, it was really hard not to get completely derailed by something mentally in a game, especially if I was like being attacked early on or something. Like every possible negative thing that I could die to was just, that's all I could think about right in that whole moment, rather than focusing on my build, focusing on my macro, focusing on building workers.
So
I have 2 physical things to add on to this. One of them would be managing your breathing. So if you are in the heat of the moment, a lot of times people will stop breathing. They'll hold their breath because they're trying to get a whole bunch of stuff done. If you can control your breathing, make sure it's broad, consistent, and confident. Just between games, just check in with your breathing. Am I, or am I just breathing normally, deeply, and slowly? That moves you more into a relaxed state. I've talked about negative tilt as a concept, which is basically getting yourself further away from a tilted state before you start. Mentally, I use gratitude, where I think about being thankful that I get time to practice StarCraft, which is a thing that I love a whole bunch. That helps me a lot when I get Australia server and I have to micro Ling Bane and it's really tilting, because I was grateful that I even got to play before I started that. So I would recommend breathing and just checking in, making sure that you're being consistent and calm. Like Nate said, just giving yourself a bit more of a break between games. If you go from like a really high intensity, stressful, obnoxious match and then just rage queue into the next one, yeah, you're going to be pretty anxious and stressed. But if you just give yourself a little bit of time, when I do my try hard streams on Tuesdays, I physically get out of my chair between every game, and that helps my blood flow a whole bunch. Another thing that can help with anxiety and stress when you play is how are you hitting the keys on your keyboard and how are you clicking the mouse? I've noticed that when I'm tryharding and I'm really stressed and into it, sometimes I'll be like banging the keys, like as though by me being mad and hitting it harder that a result is going to be different. That just causes more strain in my forearm, and I've actually felt some discomfort in my keyboard forearm whenever I do that. So trying to play gently, where you're not beating the shit out of your keyboard, but you're simply pressing the keys enough to register them, but no further force beyond that. I think that can help you too. So just having a very calm physical state when you're playing and checking yourself as you're going along.
Really good. I want to attack the part of this where he said he gets the anxiety during the game. Anxiety is, I think in my opinion, the best way to think about anxiety is it's the fear of change in your status or your perceived status. And if you kind of look at what that means within StarCraft, because every time I hear about ladder anxiety or something like that, or having anxiety while you're actually playing, it really rings true when I think about it. What does this mean? Oh, the your perceived status is like how good you are. Like, are you going to lose from this position? And that can definitely give you anxiety within the game. But I think it's important to decouple your value from whatever rank you are or what games you win, right? Like this is something that I personally used to struggle with a lot, like back in pre-StarCraft 2 days when I would play StarCraft, at tournaments. It was basically my life. Not that that much has changed, but StarCraft was too wrapped up with my self-valuing, right? Like if I was not playing well at StarCraft, I was not valuable to myself. And so that can become a big issue, and I think that can cause a lot of anxiety. You are not your ladder rank, and in fact, if you want to improve, if what you say is true here, and you actually want to improve yourself, it's better to aim for truth rather than Masters 1 or 3 or Diamond or whatever ranks that you're floating around, right? Those aren't even real. And let's be honest, you ask anyone their ladder rank or how good they are at StarCraft 2, and you're gonna get like 1% of people giving you the absolute God's truth of like, oh, I range from Diamond 3 to Diamond 1 on a good day, right? But then 99% of the time, people are going to quote the best rank they ever got. They're like, oh, I'm GM sometimes, yeah, and then you got a little bit of people too who are like, oh no, that game's too hard, I don't play it, whatever. So we'll count those out, but uh, I think that's a problem, and that helps to cause ladder anxiety. Is that everyone pretends they're their highest rank? I see this all the time, even with like really strong players between StarCraft 1 and 2, where they say what they are when I'm talking to them, and then I go check, and it's like, no, you're not. You're not that. What's the point of lying about that? Let's go for truth instead, right? It's okay to lose those extra games because if you actually face it and say, okay, my rank doesn't really matter right now. I'm just going to play as good as I can and improve. You're actually going to get better much more quickly. And I think that should help with anxiety, in my opinion.
Yeah, don't put all of your self-worth on the line for a ladder match. I think some people do that. It's like, My reputation and my family's reputation up and down for 10 generations is on the line for this ladder match right now. And they're just like shaking because they feel like everything matters to the maximum level. When think about ladder like going to the gym. I'm going into a house where I can train to get stronger. And these opponents, by attacking me, allow me to get stronger. I don't necessarily defeat their strat every time, but I do get to train. So you can be grateful for them allowing you to practice, and you get stronger with every session you put in games.
All right. I hope that helps you out, Giga SC2.
Secret Artosis off-stream practice. Training hard to ascend to the next level.
That's right. See, basically the same fucking resolution I have every year for my whole life. Be better at StarCraft. All right.
So say we all.
Yeah. It is the way.
This is the way.
Yeah, there you go. Whatever. I'm one of you guys. Hi, kids. All right, we have some Patreon questions here.
Before we get to those, we actually have a podcast PSA. We had some troubles with our podcast aggregators and had to swap over. So we have a new RSS feed. If your podcast is not getting updated and you're watching this on YouTube or something like that, refresh it. The new link will be everywhere. We're now on Amazon Music, Audible, Deezer, Player FM, TuneIn, Alexa soon, as well as Pandora and iHeartRadio. In the next month or so, we're also going to be enabling yearly Patreon subscriptions in addition to our current month-to-month plans. That's it from me. Thanks.
Thank you, Cobra. All right. There you go. Your update on how the Pylon show is going.
Cobra Venom.
Yeah. Cobra and I are working on improving the Pylon shows as well as the entire cast. So we hope to have better and better shows. I don't know. I think we're doing all right, and continue forward into the future. Big thanks to our super supporter, Benjamin, and our $100 tier, Shane, Astrofin, and Jerry Wang for supporting. Check it out, patreon.com/Pylon show. Thank you, everyone who supports the show. It would not exist without you guys. We appreciate it so much. And that's it, guys. Happy New Year. Pylon Show will be back in the new year. We'll announce the next episode once we plan it. See you guys. See you in the new year. Bye-bye.